Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of League Zero, and welcome to the quarterfinals match for the Novice Division between Edinburgh Monarchs and the Seattle Battle Cattle. I will be your colorcaster tonight, Acronator, joined by the lovely Corbeck on play-by-play.
Hey man, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited about these two teams. I've been hearing a lot of hype about this match in particular. So,
Yeah, this is one of those matchups that I swear I've casted this before. Actually, I think I have Edinburgh Monarchs versus the Seattle Battle Cattle right at the beginning of this latest League Zero season, and these two guys or these two teams, I should say, it really slugged it out then. So I'm expecting him to repeat that performance tonight as well.
yeah, definitely. Just trying to get the teams in the lobby itself. Seem to be having trouble getting them in. They're probably in custom games warming up, so tends to screw up the invites.
Gotta get the war ups in. Gotta be ready to go. Gotta be hot. I had a game last night, man. I warmed up. It didn't help. I mean, we still lost. It was not a good loss either. Let me tell you. It starts with 3 and rhymes with Joe. So it wasn't particularly great, but I expect this to be a close game. I think these are two teams that are pretty evenly matched. They've got talent on both sides of the lineup. Whether or not it's a runaway, I mean, these things do happen. Sometimes the team just has a bad day, but I think both these squads are pretty well prepped to come into this. Unfortunately, I can't really comment. I haven't been following closely enough to really comment on how they slip into the meta, what kind of comps they prefer. I don't know if you have any insight really on that, Acri.
In terms of meta, I have none because we haven't had games for the past 2 or 3 weeks at this point.
Right.
So
Right.
A little uncertain as to what the meta is right now. But
I'm glad you're the one that said it because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be the one that said it. But yeah, I think it's one of those wild and wonderful times in Overwatch where maybe the meta is a little bit in flux. Though, if you were to ask a pro, I'm sure they'd tell you that double shield, right, is still the beast to be beaten, as it were, with the Baptiste, Orisa, Sigma sort of setup. I don't know. You can still get by with a brawl, and then of course there's the Rhine changes in experimental mode right now, which has got everybody buzzing. So we'll see if those come down the pipe. I don't know. I think the health one comes down. I don't know about that chunky hammer buff though. We'll see about that.
Yeah, no, we are getting the teams in the lobby, so we'll be able to actually get in the game soon enough. But in the meantime, Monarchs, okay, they're all here now.
Squad just rolled up in its entirety right there. That was pretty impressive. This all popped in, but starting us off here on Koth, I do believe it's going to be Lijiang Tower. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, don't
that is one of the options. I don't believe Edinburgh has given us their pick yet, but they will get to.
Yeah, they're gonna pick Lijiang Tower. Everybody
Probably, yeah.
It's the last time somebody didn't pick Lijiang Tower when it was offered as an opportunity. But Koth always kind of the interesting mixture, I guess, of the maps, right? It's the least one in which I think we can see the prepared sort of defenses and setups come into the floor. Obviously, say you're running double shield, you can have some sort of prearranged rotations if you wish to run double shield on such a map. You can have some kind of prearranged rotations, but usually you don't see the kind of orchestrated defense or attack pathing you would see on your other maps, your 2 CPs and what have you. But we'll see here what they come out with. It of course does lend itself to some of the less staid comps than double shield. You've got your double bubble and your brawls and the variations thereof. So, or even something more chaotic like Hog and Ball, which I have been reliably informed some people do still run. Though I don't know them because they're probably terrible people. But
we did see a little bit of variety yesterday for intermediate, but of course that is completely different SR range than this. It's sort of in that awkward middle ground of like too low to really have to follow the meta, but too high to be able to play absolutely anything they want. So it was a little bit of double shield, a little bit of like that Rhine Sigma brawl. So I'm not really sure what the actual meta is going to be. Granted, I think Novice could probably just pull
probably do anything really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Attack Torb. I live to see it. But attack Bastion. Why not go for it? Classic teleportation up on top of the statue's head on King's Row, that sort of thing. I joke, but then again, it's first map pick.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I joke, but then again, in the Overwatch League, there was that one time Bastion was on a chandelier on Eichenwald, so
that was by complete accident too.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I was there live.
Looks like Nepal will be the map choice, so I was wrong. Actually, they would not go with Lijiang Tower, so we'll go to Nepal instead. Again, the variation in strategy I don't think really too significant. The only thing that Nepal doesn't do is probably there are less stages that maybe cater to a Pharah. Definitely a little bit harder to run dive outside of kind of the temple stage where you have or shrine, is it? Yeah, it's shrine, where you have the shrine in the middle of the map. That's the only stage that will really favor things like super favor things like double bubble. Lends itself a little bit better to double shield as well, at least as far as Sanctum is concerned. Not so much on Village, but we'll see. Looks like we're just waiting for the ready up here, and we can get started.
Yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised that Edinburgh are opting to pick Nepal, as the past couple of weeks they've been struggling a little bit. They went from an absolute top tier team up there with Wisdom, who really only lost one game the entire regular season, to sort of struggling a bit with the meta. So I think they're trying to play more into their comfort picks. So I'm not entirely sure what compositions they might want to be running, but I have a few ideas depending on the map, knowing what their players have been successful with in the past.
It's kind of just the ebb and flow of seasons, isn't it? And it is obviously instinctive to go back to things that you feel most comfortable with, places that you know well and you have kind of familiar canned strategies for. We'll see what we got here in the tank. Looks like they're arguing about stopping the vote for MVP right now, so topical humor.
It's a little bit late. MVP voting closed like 2 weeks ago, so they were announced yesterday. So a little bit late, guys.
Is it too late? Anyway, topical humor here in your Overwatch, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the players are concerned, quite funny.
So we're pretty much just waiting on Battle Cattle for the time being. Otherwise, I think no, they did not get the ready. Okay, now they're ready. I'm going to be hopping into it, depending on which Nepal map we see first. We could see a few different potential compositions. Like we'll have Village first.
Okay. All right, you got that like half a second faster than I did. Damn. Yeah, we'll be Village first. What do you think we see roll out here?
I could see either Brawl or Double Shield, but I'm 99% sure we're going to see a Mei on both sides regardless. That's too strong for this point. Interestingly, we might see Edinburgh come out without a Mei. Risky strategy.
But it's the squad proving us wrong squad at the moment. that's two. Now I think they've gotten on us so far in the broadcast. But yeah, you see Orisa, Sigma, Torb, McCree, and fair enough. And on the other side, maybe a little bit less traditional double shield, but certainly one that's going to be able to move just a little bit faster, especially with that teleporter.
Interesting to see this Reinhardt along on the side of Seattle as well. That's not what you normally see for the double shield. It's sort of like a Brawl double shield mix. It's more scrappy, allows you to get in their faces a bit more. Might not have too much success depending on how they want to play it, but they do get the point first.
Well, they'll anchor the line here. Ghost Turtle throws down the shield. Shield gone almost immediately. Bediza not really providing much shielding of his own, instead really swinging on the corner, letting a lot of the fire come in. The turret already coming out there from Empty. Empty just trying to get shots in. The battle really broiling around this corner. It's a very close double shield play. That Sigma shield thrown right up in the face. Merlin steps out again with the Fortify up, but it's not really enough. Now the pressure starts to come. Maywall goes up. Immortality fields coming out on both sides of the map. They'll throw...
Shatter?
Oh, Lennox gets 3 in the midst of all of that. I don't really know how the May managed to pull that off. But Best Viking there, the last one to be taken down. And that was a crazy fight.
Yeah, I was not expecting Seattle to come out that hard. And mind you, Seattle has not found a match win this entire season thus far. They've looked good at times, but they just didn't have the composure to bring it out. But this is looking like a completely different team, especially like you mentioned, Bediza wasn't really shielding as much as swinging, and that I guess lended to him getting his shatter before literally anyone else had anything.
He wants those Ryan buffs. He wants badly. Here comes the push to the outside edge. Merlin and Vespiking throwing out both their shields there to cover the team going forward. Vespiking with the ult. It's good ult. Shield coming out now from Space Cowboy, just giving him a little room to play with. Beautiful shielding right there. The high noon thrown in. Basically no value out of that at all. That'll result in the rally coming on the backside of Pog. Pog just trying to give them a little bit of room to push up here. The bongos are down. Out comes the Mayfreeze. Might manage to catch Merlin in that. They'll catch Merlin and empty. Pog going down as well. And again, it looks like the attack's going to be beat off here. There's not a lot they can do. Ibiza coming in for the finisher there, or Bediza. Sorry. Oh, no. Ibiza is in the wrong place entirely. I knew I was going to make that mistake too. I just knew it. It's that Iza ending.
I love how they tried to stall out Dragon there, but the Sim turrets had a little bit of different plans for his fate. We're already into one fight territory, and Edinburgh aren't looking particularly good right here. Ooh. The window isn't gonna help.
Oh, it's actually not a bad window there. It does split the team a little bit. Dragon will manage to get by it without too much damage. Another Symmetra shield coming in here. The window unleashed on a good shatter from Bediza. That'll open up a lot of room. The Reinhardt comes swinging forward. And a dominant performance on the first stage by the Battle Cattle.
You know, for Bediza being flex support for a good majority of the season, whenever he does play tank, it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, it actually worked surprisingly well, that Reinhardt in that off-tank slot. Again, like you said, you really don't see it that often, but I mean, they made it work. Switching over to a dive now on this point with the Tracer and the Pharah.
Potentially some Super Monkey Ball coming out from Seattle Battle Cattle.
Monkey Ball. Love it.
I forget where I first heard that, but it is the best name possible.
That is a really good one. Yeah, that is a really good one. I will give you that.
Looks like Edinburgh wants to stick to their guns with this Torb McCree composition as well, though. It might show a little bit more success here, especially with Space Cowboy and the Tracer, but it really depends on how they approach the point. You know, they tried to get into a very brawly situation against a brawl pseudo double shield. It didn't quite work.
Well, the dive does come in. They'll take the turret out, but that's about all they'll get. Well, no, they get the immortality field as well. It's good anti-nade there, putting a lot of pressure on Dragon. You can see this scatter kind of coming on already from the blue side there. Split up just a little bit. The ball dropping in there on the back end, but Space Cowboy will be taken down. Another anti-nade coming in on Dragon. Dragon under tons of pressure will survive. Great peel there from Pog on the Brigida to give them a little bit of a helping hand. And Lanix kind of gets caught there at the end. You know, Torbjorn. Okay, RQT, we see you. Torbjorn kind of a surprisingly good anti-dive pick.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Seattle are going to be sticking on this, although... did they make any swaps? I don't believe they did, no, so they will be sticking on this, whereas the Torbjorn counters a lot of what Seattle are trying to run into this. It kind of counters the Tracer from flanking too hard, it counters the Pharah from taking obvious and easy sight lines, and then RQT can basically just do whatever he wants because the turret's essentially an extra hit.
Indeed. Well, you see Bediza there sneaking up on the outside edge. Bediza initiates the slam, comes in. That'll pop the rally almost immediately from Pog. Window coming out as well. It's a barrage over the top from Lanix. No real luck to be had there as RQT gets in on the action. Again, Dragon contributing just a little bit more this time as well. Space Cowboy caught out by the turret right there, just as you said. And that, I think, will end that push again. So a brutal showing of the door there. And finally, the swaps will start to come in.
Yeah, especially, I think they wanted to get those ultimates out of the way. You know, they had the mines, they had, I believe, the Primal Rage. If not, he died close to it, but regardless, he swaps over, and they're going to have more traditional double shield. The Pharah can definitely work a lot better in this situation when they have more ground pressure to deal with the double shields on the side of Edinburgh. But, of course, they do have a massive ult advantage here, Edinburgh does, on the defensive side, as they just able to sit there.
Well, there's part of that. You see there's a little bit of a misplaced shield here from Ghost Turtle, and that is a cardinal sin That'll cost RQT their life early on. Ghost Turtle will be brought down on the other end, so trading picks out there. Both Dragon's Immortality Field and Merlin's Bongo both go down, but Merlin doing a spectacular job of holding the line here on the Orisa. Will rotate around, a ton of rear pressure being put on Bediza on the front line. Bediza trying to fall back, engaged with a Torb. I do comes out, Formal Chicken will have nowhere to go. The barrage point blank from Lanix actually gets 2. But Empty is there with the Torb to get the pick off. The pressure's still coming up, though. It's not over yet. Ghost Turtle tries to get it in. It's just Space Cowboy here holding out. And there's nothing he can do about Empty's turn in the corner. They stagger in the last couple of defenders. A Lucio on point there from Formal Chicken will not be enough to hold. And we see reverse 100% to 0 right there.
That looks a lot more like the Edinburgh that I remember from the regular season. I was worried that, with the rumors coming in, people thought Seattle would be able to pull off a massive upset. I have my doubts, given the regular season record 0-7, 0-8, 0-8. So I have my doubts. It can certainly still happen, but they're going to have to fight a lot harder than they did the first round. I think that was Edinburgh warming up.
If I'm honest with you, though, part of the problem there was that Seattle gave them a lot of room. Like, they gave them a lot of that percentage point by playing that dive for so long. But, what you gonna do? Yes, if you're dedicated to the plan, right?
Yeah, we do have a few swaps coming in for Seattle in particular. Lanix on the Echo, new face, Formal Chicken actually on the Zenyatta as well, interestingly enough. Jason sticking on his signature Baptiste. But otherwise, the same stuff coming out from Edinburgh.
Well, shields dueling around the stairs there. Ghost Turtle gets another shield down, winning the shield economy by just a little bit. The Rock coming in there forces the Immortality Field early from Dragon, and that is a significant disadvantage in these kind of tight engagements. Merlin and Lanix getting lots of value there. Gets Pog, Merlin, and Empty on the backside. Great play from the Echo, slotting perfectly into this double shield spam comp.
I was actually about to say right before the action broke out there that I was surprised Lanix wasn't trying to flank a little bit more, as that's more stereotypical with this double shield Echo comp. The Echo can spread her wings a little bit more, but he apparently didn't need to because he got like 3.5 kills there, including the turret.
Well, the shield goes down again. Oh, Merlin just melted as he stepped out of that doorway. Even with the slight misplaced shield there from Ghost Turtle, nothing for them to hold on to here, and that percentage point will just tick up as they wait for their Orisa to come back.
Interestingly enough, neither of these fights has happened very long, so it's really only Dragon that has any amounts close to his ultimate. I guess Bediza and Dason are coming up soon, but yeah, sure enough, we're gonna see that window come out immediately.
Window coming out, and they're trying their best to take advantage of it. It's a great pick there on Bediza. And now the pressure's on. There's really nobody here who can go in and touch point. They'll flip it easily. Bob comes out, but on the other side, you see shots coming in from Space Cowboy. But Space Cowboy and Bob, they're really not able to combine for very much here. As Lanix, I think, made a misclick there and goes down the pit. Space Cowboy won't be able to get out either. So kind of a botched defense there.
Yeah, they just kind of stood there and let Edinburgh rotate onto point, and they just stood there and said, well, that happened. And then Bediza died as they were sitting there staring with no shields, taking a whole bunch of damage, and practically fed Empty, half of his ultimate. He was maybe 30%. Yep. Now he's 85%. He's going to have it for this next fight.
Well, Edinburgh has the new defensive position now. Kings of the Hill, very much. Around comes the drop in through the cubby hole here, so just trying to get on a point in a cheeky way. There's ults coming out fast and furious. Window coming in. Gravitic's in as well. Immortality Field out of it. Great ult there by Empty, who gets dragged off the map by the combined efforts of 4 players. Now Lanix with the clone of the Torbjorn doesn't get a lot of value out of it, though, as Empty starts getting kills. Oh no, RQT gets in on it as well. I don't really understand how Empty managed to pick up 2 kills with the Molten Core right there at the end as Lanix is brought down. And what a series of unfortunate events.
Okay, so what happened there? I'm not sure if the stream caught it, but Empty obviously got pulled off the edge, but he had a really good Molten Core placement on both of the doorways. Formal Chicken barely got his Transcendence up in time. That kept them alive through the first part of that fight, managed to keep them alive. They won it, and then after the Transcendence ended, they just kind of stood there still, as if it was still going on. So they took a whole lot of damage.
Well, I swear I heard a Gravitic go off there, but if I did, nothing really came of it. RQT gets brought down. Vestviking returns the favor, taking out Formal Chicken, and Bediza goes down early as well. The rotate coming in. There is a window out there, but no touch. And it's a bit of a clunky win, but the Edinburgh Monarchs will take map 1.
You did actually hear a Gravitic Flux. I believe that was Bediza canceling Vespi Kings.
Yeah, that's what I figured had happened.
I have no idea what this could be.
Looks like just a lot of bullets. Just a lot of shooting. It is. Oh my god. That's actually horrific. The amount of CC that was applied to Sigma right there. Frozen, turn in. Pretty sure they grabbed him at some point in time in that as well. With the pull. Oh my lord. This might play the game of Poly with that. Well, that was an interesting first stage there. I mean, the Battle Cattle first map, I should say, the Battle Cattle put up a pretty decent performance, I think, across those maps, but just some sort of like small mistakes, maybe not totally understanding how to run that double shield defense on Koth, I think really hurt them right there as well, especially on that last Sanctum stage.
Yeah, they had moments of brilliance, but they very small mistakes that left too large of an opening for Edinburgh in particular. You know, they've been at times considered the second best team in Novice throughout the season, so they obviously have that experience competing at that higher level, whereas Battle Kettle have been working the entire season to get to the point they're at now. So they might be a little bit outclassed, but it's definitely enough of a spark where they can certainly make an upset. They just have to clean up their play a little bit more.
Well, every dog has their day, or so I've been told. So you never know. It could come around. I mean, to be fair, on the first point and the third point, Battle Cattle did not play poorly. I don't think it was necessarily terrible on their part. Like you said, it was just those small mistakes, just left the door open for kind of the stronger team on paper to prove that point and to come through swinging. We'll see now what Battle Cattle pick as a map. They have Kings Row, Eichenwald, and Hollywood up. I don't really know what I would go with here. Honestly, probably just Kings Row. It feels like the universal comfort pick.
Yeah, especially knowing Ghost Turtle and Bediza, the more brawl-esque heroes seem to be more in their comfort picks, whereas the Edinburgh Monarchs seem to want to play more this double shield. Maybe if they had to go back to like a shadow dive, they'd also be comfortable, but they seem a lot less comfortable facing against this brawl.
Indeed. I mean, also if you think that Empty playing a Torbjorn is actually going to be a thing, I guess Kings Row is slightly worse for Torbjorn once you get past the first point. We'll see if that's something that I don't know if that'll actually enter in strategic calculations. But then again, I mean, they favored it across a lot of maps, so there's something to it. And yeah, sure enough, they will come out with Kings. It's not entirely surprising, all things considered. Kings Row, of course, I mean, it does lend itself well to. I mean, it lends itself well to almost every comp, but like you said, the brawl does tend to thrive a little bit harder on Kings, more tight spaces and tight corners that enable that kind of play style.
We might be okay. We do have a sub coming in for Battle Cattle. They're swapping in Savage Kidney and actually Shadow Void for Jason as well. So we have a few swaps coming in. They're I actually have no clue between Formal Chicken and Shadow Void who plays main support and flex support, but they'll figure it out probably.
One of them will play it. So we know that for sure. Savage Kidney, what a name.
If I recall, he's had some extremely dominant moments on Wrecking Ball and Reinhardt, so this doesn't entirely surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, they could just be leaning towards the Rhine, as what I would, if I had to guess. I mean, like I said, you could play that on Kings Row if you wanted to, and certainly it looks like Bediza, a Zarya player, Savage Kidney, Orion player, the match there, made in heaven. Or hell, depending on which side of the ball you're on.
Yeah, well, Dragon and Pog had certainly a fun time dealing with that on Shrine for at least a little while.
Yeah, exactly. I did appreciate the use. I did appreciate the use of a Reinhardt as a off tank. It's not usually what slot we see them in, but it is it works. I mean, it works. So it looks like we're getting the readies up now. So hopefully we can start or fire this bad boy up in a second and see what
Yep.
Kings Row has for us.
Off to jolly old London to escort an EMP to the center of an Omnic city.
You know, when you think about it, it's actually really bad.
It's rather morbid, yeah.
It is by far the worst out of all the maps. I cannot think of another map where you're like, wow, that's real grim. Like, when on Gibraltar, it's like, here, let's fire a satellite into space. You know, you come to Kings Row, it's like, let's destroy the population of an entire Undercity. Oh. All right, well, Jeff had a bad day that day, I guess. They're in the design process. We'll scared everyone in the office with that one. All right, we'll see what they.
Ooh, wow! If Seattle run out on this is going to be a blast from really 6 months ago with the old meta.
Yeah. It can still work. It 100% can still work. It's not as good as Double Shield, right? In a lot of situations. But you can definitely, if you can close the distance, you can make that Reaper and that May do big work for you.
Especially with the defense seemingly sticking on this Rhine Sigma.
And there's a Torb validated.
Empty likes the Torb.
He does.
Interesting. He used to play the Ash, but I guess RQT wanted to stake his claim to that.
Oh, poor screaming Lucio there. Got by that dynamite. They're going for a really long rotate here. Unfortunately, Formal Chicken will get picked off. And that's the danger of these super long rotates, if we're being honest.
Oh, no.
Oh, that could have been ugly. The wall a little bit botched there. Immortality Field coming in as well. Dragon stuck in here. Merlin somehow pulling this off. Beyond all reason. Savage Kimmy getting in, and well, it's ugly, but it worked, I guess, at the end of the day. Formal Chicken, the last one standing in there, will get taken down, but that was about 2 heartbeats away from disaster right there, Acronator.
That was scrappy. Merlin almost died at least 3 times.
Yep.
This is really the danger of this Rhine Zarya versus the Rhine Sigma, is the Sigma composition has a lot more poke damage, a lot more long range, so the Rhine Zarya SPC has to just get into their faces as fast as possible. Like this!
Caught out from the wall, but Formal Chicken the first to die. The Lucio there. Big shatter, though. Can they follow it up? The Immortality Field going down at just the wrong time, and Shadow Void coming forward with the Coalescence, reaping up those kills. The rest of the team there to clean up, and a brutal fast attack will get them through.
You know, this is deja vu to the last game of the regular season where, you do have the cap point, guys. But deja vu where Savage Kidney comes in on Reinhardt, they just have this very confident energy about them, and they look incredible. As long as they can keep it up, this is looking rather hopeful for SBC. Oh, well.
There comes the nano on Merlin. Merlin's going to use this just to play big ult bank in favor of the rest of the team here. The Edinburgh Monarchs surging forward. Merlin's cut off, though. Merlin in trouble, tries to charge out the Immortality Field. Half a second too late. They've traded Reinhardt's here, but the fight is not over. The grouping from the Edinburgh Monarchs, though, so good. They're moving together as a little hunting pack, and they'll burn down Space Cowboy there in the bookstore, and that'll be the end of it. But again, seconds from disaster. Just right on the edge of the knife.
They're definitely testing Edinburgh in their positioning, particularly with Merlin. He's had trouble in the past of getting a little bit overly aggressive and getting sectioned off by good Maze, and Lennox has had really brilliant May walls thus far, so he's been doing a really good job of that.
Oh, window coming up there. Unfortunately, Formal Chicken clipped by the Fire Strike. Merlin going in and getting Space Cowboy. Goes down early on, but the rest of the team is there to back him up. RQT been hitting big dynamites this entire time, and follows it up there with a little bit of a double act. All credit to Merlin, despite dying. Actually, he's opening up room. I mean, he's getting him space.
Yeah, he's definitely a good main tank, but I think the difference between a good and a great main tank here would be him knowing when to back up just a little bit extra just to survive. You know, if he could stay alive in these fights, his team would be in a much better defensive position. They're going to be fine right now, especially with the ultimates they have.
Well, there's the Gravitic up and early. They'll take Lanix out.
What?
Cowboy invests 3 with the Death Blossom. Make it 4 on the back of that. RQT on the Ash, the only one left holding the cart. And what a huge play from the Reaper, because they still have 5 ults in the bank.
I think that was just a Hail Mary, and it worked. Because no one was expecting that, especially not the Monarchs, because they just stood there like, well, guess I'll die. And
yeah. Jesus. I was just about to say, oh, they better not invest any more ults in this. This has already gone pear-shaped. And then Space Cowboy just eats himself bodily in there. Now, Bob coming out, the grab on the grab Blizzard comes in. It's a good shot by Merlin. The Blizzard got eaten by the Sigma. Vespa King with the huge play there to shut the Blizzard down, but it might not be enough. It's a great wall in there to split the team. A good shot. RQT got caught on the back end, did not go down. Empty as Nanoed fighting out the Torb. Still alive, still holding on. Dragon goes down. A window did come out, but they're not getting any value out of it at all. Savage Kidney, living up to the Savage part of the name, just swinging away on the payload, will blow a hole open and they will get the payload through, but what a scrappy fight.
Empty was not allowed to play the game for like 30 seconds straight there. He was nanoed on the Torgrome, but then he just kept getting frozen off of cooldown, and it took him a while to die, I'll give him credit, but unfortunately he couldn't get anything he wanted done. That was a whole cacophony of just really odd ultimate usages, and God knows what happened, but I mean, SBC got the better of it in the end. Oh, as I say that.
Well, that was a strange series of events. Empty there still. This man gets more kills from beyond the grave with Molten Core than he does when he actually is alive. That was 2 there again. After he had died, he didn't even complete the full, like, splooging of the ult.
I wonder if that's communicated by Edinburgh to say, like, hey, push them into the Molten Core. If it is, that's brilliant.
Gravitic coming out early on there. The team goes up, the team comes down. The beat coming out from Formal Chicken fast and furious. The Blizzard coming in here as well. Actually buying the team a ton of space. Merlin going to get burned down early on. Vespa King following him to the grave. RQT trying to hold this one out, and if anyone probably can do it, it's a Reaper. RQT getting 2 picks. RQT going for another one. The Coalescence coming out from Pog as well, just powering in on the backside of that, but Space Cowboy starts to return the favor, dueling Reapers around the point, but RQT has friends, and Space Cowboy does not, at least right now, and he'll back up to the rest of the team.
You know, it's somewhat unfortunate that RQT, I don't know if, I forget if he was even nominated for Most Clutch Award in the All-Star Awards, but he certainly has his name in the running there. Unfortunately, he didn't win it, but he's ridiculously clutch, and he's a big reason why Edinburgh can win some of these fights that are lost.
Oh, RQT drops the Death Blossom, only gets Formal Chicken. Space Cowboy could return the favor, but he'll die too early. Gets set off the edge of the map. Lanix there going the way of the Dodo as well. Shadow Void will follow. I think even Beniza might have tried to go down the pit. I don't know if he made it.
I believe everyone was trying to just jump off the edge there, but RQT, the shotgun damage is too far. However, SBC does have quite a lot of ultimates coming into this fight, so as long as they can keep that aggression they had in the first and second points, they have a good amount of momentum coming into this fight. It really depends on how they play it, though.
Whoa! That's a good start. Behind, he somehow got booped back into the team. I don't know who made that mistake, but it was a massive one. 1 second he was towards the front line, the next he was in the back line. The worst possible scenario there for an ulting Reaper. And now the payload should just roll forward here. They've still got ults to play with.
Sure enough, the Graviton Surge denies most of them the ability to touch point. It's really just Merlin.
Well, the Shatter coming in now. That's a good Shatter from Merlin there. He'll take Shadow Void out of the fight. The Coalescence coming in with Blizzard there as well. The counter beat, but it's Space Cowboy again on this Reaper. Cleaning house, cleaning up, and keeping the dream alive. Dragon desperately trying to stall the point out. Savage Kidney is back now. Vespa King trying to touch on the ball. You'll see Empty coming back in on the Tracer as well. Empty and Vespa King holding it out. Vespa King frozen. Won't quite make it work. Empty dancing on the point, trying to keep it alive. Burton down. Pog on the backside on the Moira, keeping it going. Merlin there as well. Merlin debacked Oh no!
No.
Over the edge, got a little too eager there. RQT building up for a Death Blossom, won't quite get it to work. Empty still trying to stall this one out. Empty can touch again. Empty still there. Empty still stalling. Empty finally dies, and now Pog comes rolling back in. Maywall will clear it, but a valiant stall attempt there.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Seattle was losing steam as they approached third point, and I think that's to be expected to some degree, but they definitely took everything they had to roll it into that final point. But capping all 3 points on Kings Row is a pretty good achievement by all rights, regardless of the time bank, so they should be pretty happy with that for the time being.
Yeah, no, that was definitely I mean, they forced him into overtime. That was good play, good stall. And Seattle, I mean, you're right. They have to be happy with that result as well. Can't really complain. You got it all the way there. Savage Kidney probably a little upset.
He didn't get to use his chatter.
Also just got escorted off the edge of the map. He was chasing after that Diva. The Diva mech went over the pit, and then Savage Kidney looked like they followed him in. But they'll reset their defense here. And coming out on the Zarya Rhine, nothing, pretty much the same thing. This is not unexpected. Empty coming out on the Widowmaker, though.
Probably just a quick little peek. I'd be shocked if he stayed on it for too long, unless he starts getting shots, but I don't know. I haven't seen him play Widow in a long time, so I don't know how much he's improved or hasn't improved or what, so...
a lot of confident players, they'll try and get like one pick on Widow at the beginning, and swap off. I imagine that's the plan.
Yeah, sure enough, he doesn't see anything, so he seems to be sticking on it for the time being. I don't know if they expect Seattle to
they're just
right where they are.
What an awkward brawl there around the base of the statue. Kind of the two Reinhardts swinging at each other. Merlin and Savage, neither one really getting much of an advantage. Both their health pools quite low. Now they're rotating around the statue. Good wall there. They've caught a couple of targets out, and it'll be Vespa King who goes down first. The charge coming in from Merlin. Merlin all alone in the backline on that Reinhardt, but somehow it's Lanix who dies before Merlin. They'll turn around as quick as they can. Pog is there in the back line as well. There's a Torbjorn turret in the middle of the point. That doesn't live very long. Pog burned down quite quickly. Empty catches the reverse end of the Reinhardt hammer, and that just leaves one little Lucio, who will not last long either.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that RQT, and I think that was Empty and Dragon at the very end there, stayed on point for as long as they did. They probably should have just escorted themselves back to the spawn without feeding any more ult charge, because as you can see, SPZ has quite a large ult economy on top of them.
Dueling walls, they're coming out. Get another Coalescence in there as well. RQT unleashes the Blossom. That'll open up some space. Merlin and RQT come surging forward, and that kill feed lights up solid blue in favor of the Edinburgh Monarchs.
That's really unfortunate for Seattle. They had a really nice wall there, and they couldn't capitalize on it, and then the final nail in the coffin for that defense, and possibly the first fight of second point here, the Streets phases, that both Formal Chicken and Shadow Void use their ultimates almost on top of each other, so they have no support ults whatsoever.
Well, Savage trying to hold this corner by the post box. It's kind of a tight hold here. Merlin just trying to get that space. Good wall in again, but not quite enough. Grab does come down the line. That'll force the sound barrier out early on. Savage with the shatter on the backside of the grab. Now that's a play. RQT caught there, burned down as well. Great combination of the tank ults there.
That was absolutely crucial from Savage, because if they didn't do anything after the grab had finished and maybe one person had died, the fight was still winnable for Edinburgh. Yeah. They could have just grabbed themselves, and then Shadow Void and Formal Chicken don't have their ults, so then it's probably a fight win for Edinburgh. But now Shadow Void is almost to his Coalescence, Space Cowboy has his ult, Lanix almost has Blizzard. Oh, except that happens.
Oh, it's a great play there, that aggressive approach by the Zarya to just get them in the grab, and then the core comes out, and a great job. Empty, I think, got 3 with that Molten Core right there, so spectacular stuff.
And he stayed alive for it to happen too. So
he witnessed the fruits of his labors this time. First time that's happened, I think, all night. He usually dies when he uses that.
It gets a little bit overly aggressive.
Suicide ult, not the traditional sense, but Well, here's the push again, going up. Savage Kidney leading the charge. It's a forward-ish hold. Blizzard coming out early on. That's actually a good Blizzard. That might buy them some space on the backside of this, and surely it does. Merlin will go down. RQT and Dragon in the backline, but Space Cowboy with 3, just cleaning up the trash there. Scattered her throughout the backline. The charge coming forward here, that coalescence that got thrown in by Pog, not enough to keep anyone alive. Vespa King was kind of the parting sting right there. We'll take Savage out of it, but it should have more than enough time for the defense to reset.
Yeah, and this is exactly where Seattle wants to hold. If they get 2 third points and they start having to defend third point, it's going to be a little bit scrappier, a little bit more hectic, but here they have a little bit more breathing room, and they're going to have a definitive spawn advantage as well.
Well, they need that Reinhardt backstab, and he will get there just in time. Savage Kidney now leading the front line. Merlin and Savage hitting each other. RQT drops in, gets 1. Empty getting the other support on the front line. RQT continuing to get the kills in. There was a shatter, I think, in the midst of all that madness, but really just a petulant gesture on the side of Savage, because that fight was already over.
Yeah, I saw it the second he was going for the teleport. I knew exactly what he was doing. Read him like a book, and unfortunately Seattle did not have that foresight to do anything about it, especially
somebody had already checked the book out in the library. It was you. they couldn't read the book.
I spent a lot of the season analyzing Novice, so I kind of know what they do by this point.
Oh, grab coming out here. That'll force the sound barrier, but not from the side that gets grabbed. That'll be Formal Chicken who invest that. Molten Cork coming out, and grab on the other side. Catches Lennox there. Lennox still alive, not quite down yet. Space Cowboy fighting like an absolute demon there to keep this one going. Empty ahead of his team and a little alone will get burned down. The wall coming in doesn't get anyone. RQT somehow picked Shadow Void out of this mess, and now it's RQT with backup from Merlin and Vespa King. And he's forcing him back. Shatter comes in, not as much value as he would have liked, but enough to open up the flank because Savage Kidney cannot stand on that front line with a Reaper. The Blizzard coming out, I don't really know what happened to it. RQT throws the Blossom out. RQT gets 2 when the pathway to the golden end zone is open there. The Surge coming forward. It's going to take one amazing stall to hold this one out. Shadow trying to be the one to do it. Won't make it. They do get Lennox on. Lennox just holding that point down. The rest of the team will start boiling in. They've got to hold this for an insane amount of time. Quick boy opens the gates of hell there. 4 picks.
Are you kidding? No way.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What a fight that was.
Oh, when you try your best and you don't succeed. Oh, absolute tragedy.
That was a trip and a half. So Lennox, like 30 seconds prior to that final push, tried to Blizzard, and it was a really good Blizzard attempt, but unfortunately he was like 20 health. Merlin was busy swinging his hammer and canceled it mid-animation just by killing him. So then they move ahead without having to worry about the Blizzard. Space Cowboy gets a 4K with the Death Blossom, but then that still leaves 2 alive, and no one else had the spawns back. That's just tragic. I believe Formal Chicken was so very close to touching, but all they needed was like 0.9% of a meter. So that's really all they needed.
That was a bit of a crazy ending right there. I gotta feel for Space Cowboy. He must be absolutely wrecked by that because he is such a perfect Death Blossom, but it just wasn't enough. Oh, terrible.
And now you have to have a perfect defense for a little bit over half of the original starting time for 1 tick of the first point. Now their defense didn't really go that well after about 2 fights last time, so they're gonna need probably 4 or 5 perfect fights here, because if they lose too many people, it's going to create an opening where Edinburgh have too much of a spawn advantage here. They need to win these fights decisively and quickly.
That's all it is. 2 to 5 perfect, or 2 to 5 perfect fights. No big deal. It definitely doesn't help that RQT is already on the point. I'm trying to open up space. Oh no! They've caught the Reinhardt out, but Savage lives! Not only does Savage lives, he clubs RQT to the dirt there on the front door as well. Empty trying to get that side angle. Says no. Counter sniping the sniper there with an icicle to the face. Now the pressure's starting to come forward. An absolute scrum around the gates here. Oh, Vespa King going down as well. RQT fades out and runs for the door. Space Cowboy wants that pick so bad. Needs to come back. It's Lennox who gets it on the other side, but they'll hold there. So that was good from the perspective of the defender.
That was a really good target-focused fight from SBC, and I think more importantly for SBC, that was a really sloppy fight from Edinburgh. They keep sending one person off to the point to see if they can C9, but then you're taking a 5v6.
Here comes the Coalescence. This will be a straight push onto Merlin, but Merlin manages to get back to the rest of the team. Oh, shatter into the charging Reinhardt! Savage Kidney with nerves of steel just slams that hammer down right into the face of his opposite number, and they'll turn that defense again, and now things are starting to look a little rough here for the Edinburgh Monarchs.
Yeah, they're starting to choke a little bit. MT did swap off of the Widowmaker onto the Torbjorn, but there's no chance in a million years that he's going to build up that ultimate, so it's really just fodder there.
Blizzard coming out of the front door, that might be enough. The Sound Barrier's investing here to counteract the clap. They need to get some kills. Dragon will survive, will get the Sound Barrier off. Huge play from the Lucio because it enables some stuff on the backside. RQT with the Death Blossom. Shatter comes out on the other side, they've held it. 10 seconds left.
They are going to be able to touch, and no team has ultimate, so it's quite literally just going to come down to who has the better target focus here. No.
Early on, Merlin the ball trying to hold out. The rest of the team already here though. Empty Vespa King touching quickly thereafter. No. Dragon gets the early pick on Savage. The heart of the lineup is down. Vespa King fighting this one out. In comes RQT on the Doomfist. The brawl happening on point right now, but it's Lennox who goes down. Merlin with the slam there, just trying to get more damage in. One. Space Cowboy tries to return the favor, but it's Space Cowboy fighting back on the Reaper. Space Cowboy will go down. The ball comes in. The slam is out. They're still fighting this in. The Coalescence comes out from Shadow Void, just trying to keep the team in one piece, but RQT slams the Moira into a wall. Vespa King there to get Medusa down. Again, the broil continues. Dragon did get the Sound Barrier off, which is just buying time. RQT continuing to farm kills on this Doomfist. The last one left to touch. Oh, Space Cowboy is there and he'll survive the bomb. He dances outside the zone, but it's not enough. Oh, what an end to that map. Absolute madness.
You know, I knew once the fight started dragging out that Edinburgh had a distinct advantage there. They had a spawn advantage. RQT on the Doomfist, obviously, the longer he was able to live, everything in his kit is just extremely deadly. So that was going to be, unfortunately, the Monarchs taking that after a really hard-fought map for Seattle. They're not quite out of it yet, but now they're going to have to reverse sweep if they want to continue on to the semis.
RQT. I don't know if you guys saw that. RQT 81% participation on elims. Oh my lord. That's
all
insane.
Right. So SBC get to choose their potentially final map. This is match point for Edinburgh. Let's see. It'll be escorts. That is Rialto, Gibraltar, and Dorado.
That's I don't know. I actually don't know. I would stay away from. If I was them, I would stay away from Gibraltar. I just don't think that lends itself to the style that they liked. It's. I want to say Rialto. Maybe that might be the pick.
That's the more common pick I've seen across all divisions, honestly.
Yeah. I guess I'm operating off the assumption, right, that Battle Cat will probably want to stick with Savage Kidney and Bediza because that was tank comp was working really well. Savage Kidney was making huge plays, and I think that was a large part of the reason why they were able to do so well. So you probably want to avoid maps with excessive high ground, and I guess Rialto would be the maybe least high groundy of those three choices, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they picked Dorado as well because RQT is sort of known as a two-trick in the community. His Reaper and Farah are like his two main picks that he just carries to a different level on. So I don't expect them to pick Dorado because that's pretty Farah heavy right up until third point. So I would expect Rialto as well.
Yeah. Far, I mean, you could still get a far out on Rialto, and it's not like she's bad there, but probably better on Dorado, better on Gibraltar as well. Talking Smack in the chat. Main tank difference smack right there going down. But I mean, it was if we're being honest with ourselves, actually, it was a bit of a rough performance from Merlin on main tank. He got his, I think he got his legs underneath him on the attack, but defense, I mean, there was a lot of kind of questionable charges, and he was sort of out of position, and they were punishing him. And there are probably a lot more time. I feel like there were a lot of times where you felt as if the Edinburgh Monarchs should have lost team fights. And they just did it. It's just by their fingernails they held on. Like the right immortality field placement or something would keep them in the fight.
Yeah, honestly, they look a lot less comfortable, I guess, in the current meta compared to back when they were doing more shadow dive, shadow brawl. They looked a lot more comfortable back then. So maybe that just happened to be the meta for them, and they're struggling. But honestly, like everything, their ult tracking, their target priority. Okay, they're actually choosing Dorado, so
wow.
that's risky. But maybe they have extreme faith in Space Cowboy to knock our QT out of the sky. I'm extremely expecting of our QT to play the Pharah, maybe an Echo even. But okay, we do have more subs coming in as well. Dason back in for Shadow Void, so definitely some Baptiste. That seems to be Dason's special.
Yeah, I would agree. This is an interesting choice. This is really an interesting choice. This is putting, I think, a lot of this has got to be putting a lot of pressure on the idea of the double shield. That's the only thing I can think. Ghost Turtle was the one who was playing the Orisa. You put in the Orisa, Savage Kidney. I think I would have taken the Zarya Brawl. Like, I would have taken the Ryan Zarya Brawl on Rialto, but maybe they know something about Dorado that we don't. And I mean, it's not as if Space Cowboy has been playing poorly. So, you put faith in him. Put faith in him and see what he can make happen.
Yeah, definitely. And who knows, maybe Monarchs don't decide to run with more aerial composition. I don't believe they've actually played Pharah or Echo thus far. I think Lanix is the only one who's played any aerial DPS, and that was Echo for a brief period. So maybe they're more confident in Lanix to pull something out of the sky and light up the kill feed.
Lennox's Echo looked decent enough. I mean, he played it very maybe sedate in terms of his position, kind of holding behind the shield, adding to the spam, but it wasn't as if it was bad or anything. And
oh yeah, definitely.
He did fall down a pit once, but I don't know if that was his fault or if that was somebody who put him down here. Yeah, I want to say somebody put him down the pit, but I'm not really sure. No pits to fall off here, just some sea cliffs. So, I feel like, if you can get that far, this is probably going to be Battle Cattle will want to try and I guess you try and stall them out on third stage. If you get Pharah, I mean, that's the place where Pharah begins to lose value, but this is bold. I'm curious to see how this goes. I am actually curious to see how this goes. Yeah,
Seattle has honestly played well enough that they could certainly claim a few maps. I'm not sure if they'll be able to reverse sweep because that's going to be a tall order, but one step at a time, and this might be their step. It's their pick. They're well aware of the what's at stake here. So
yeah, I don't think the Seattle Battle Cattle have much to be ashamed of right now. All things considered, I mean, as you said, right, this is not a matchup that they should theoretically win, right? Like, we know that. But they've put up quite a fight. I mean, they have not made this an easy run by any stretch of the word across these first two maps. So I don't think that's going to change as we go here on Dorado.
Well, we will get to see what Edinburgh decide to run out on the defense here in just a minute, whereas SBC will get to meme around and spawn a little bit. So don't take too much of what Seattle has too seriously quite yet, because they might just decide to mess with us a bit. I'm always weary of that, and they pull off like a Symmetra Genji or whatever. Yeah,
it's got me before. it's
nothing too surprising.
No, nothing too surprising. Empty continuing with the Torbjorn. Never gonna give it up. Which I appreciate. RQT there coming in on the Ashe. Yeah, it's pretty standard double shield stuff. Pog picking up the Brigitte. That Brigitte can kind of go either way. That could be a Zen as well, to be honest. But Actually, the Brigida pick going to be more advantageous with what we're looking at on the other side. Not quite sure about the support duo on the other side. I will be honest.
I believe I saw Seattle run this against Hyperflex towards the end of the regular season, so yeah, they're probably going to run out on this briefly. Lanix is a pretty nasty Genji. If they can get a good Nano Blade going and find a decent target, which that's going to be rough in this composition that Edinburgh's running, then maybe, who knows.
Well, they did a really good jump, actually. Lanix and Ghost Turtle get in there on the back of that perfectly placed anti-nade by Dawson, and they just get the kills. Wow. Clinical, that was clinical.
Yeah, that was a beautiful amount of coordination right there. If they can keep playing like that, they're going to win, period.
And here comes the charge again on the back of a great anti-nade. Unfortunately, the Immortality Field there to do a lot of saving that time, but it will not keep Merlin up. Vespa King does get one pick here. Lanix will go down. RQT returning the favor. The fight's still going here, and they're still getting progress. RQT now gets burned out by a really quite vengeful Bediza there in the back line. The res will come out, though, and get the Ashe back up. You see Empty getting pressured there, a little father-daughter violence on the left-hand side of the statue. But still, I mean, pushing forward, they've not surrendered a lot of ground. Bediza going to take some damage here. Good deflect there, actually, from Lanix to get Dragon stuck and burned down by Space Cowboy in the back line. Space Cowboy fighting this out. The mines come in as well. Merlin anti-nade, and Merlin is gone. Great play. Lanix and Space Cowboy all over them. An absolute savagery. Wow.
I'd expect nothing less from Savage Kidney, but no. I think Dragon using his window there as fast as he did with as few people on Edinburgh alive as there was at the time, I think speaks to just how much pressure Seattle's putting onto Edinburgh at the moment. Like, they took out one of the best support ultimates in the game right now in the current meta for about 3 people versus 6 people, because that's how scared they were of Seattle's dive.
Yeah.
They just kept pushing forward, and even then, they just kind of split up and reconvened in the back line and took everyone out.
Pog actually coming out here on the Mercy. The Gravitic comes in early. That'll get some kills. Okay, so they're slowing things down a little bit there. Vespa King getting some empty RQT in on the action as well. And they will manage to hold that high ground positioning.
Finally, it looks like Edinburgh will have a chance to breathe, although Space Cowboy is harassing them up on the high ground. He actually will survive as well. I'm not sure how
Gets out.
Never mind.
Oh, never mind. We might have just cursed him a little bit right there. He looked like he was going to make it out.
Yeah, he was playing reckless. He pulled what I like to call a chipsa, but
he got his ult though. He did get the pulse, which is I think what the whole point of that was. So.
Speaking of ultimates, Seattle has basically everything besides mines, but the way Bediza's been playing, he basically has mines already. Whereas Edinburgh has been making so many swaps that they're a little ways off from anything other than what they immediately have at the moment. So this is going to be, ideally, a pretty one fight.
There's the dive coming in on the back of the fall disruption, but Bediza gets burned down on the back of the line. The Genji Blade does come out with the nano to back it up. Lanix will get 2, and that should be more than enough to break this kind of staunch top high ground defense here, and they'll get that card moving forward. Yeah, there we go. Back up just a little bit there on it. There we go. Correct, keeps moving. Pog and Empty are just in the mid ground here between the team and the dive. They don't really know where to go. Empty getting bullied here, but the real target in there is the Mercy. Unfortunately, they won't quite get Pog. Wow. Will fly out. Great minefield. What a denial! What a denial! Bediza puts the minefield in the absolute perfect place, like an archer selecting his target.
I'm beginning to realize why they chose Dorado. I think they've been practicing this just a little bit, just a smidge.
I almost see it. Yeah, it's dangerously close to looking calculated right there, if I'm being honest, with the way that they put that minefield down. Wow. This has been an amazing push. This is some of the best Overwatch we've seen them play so far tonight.
This is so weird. Why can't they play like this all the time?
Merlin coming forward here with the beatdown Bongo, just trying to get him a little bit of room. Merlin taking a lot of pressure. Unfortunately, that's Formal Chicken, who gets caught overextending there, will be burned down. Bediza does destroy the beatdown Bongo, but too little too late. That'll escort the rest of the team back, and the ult economy definitely not in their favor anymore.
No, they kind of rolled through Edinburgh so fast that they just didn't have the chance to use ultimates, but now the other side of that is they have 5. So, quite the advantageous defensive positioning here for Edinburgh.
Well, the term dry push comes to mind. Try and burn some of these out. I feel like we're about to see Vespa King use it very early for Vidic, since that seems to kind of be part and parcel, but no, he's holding on.
Oh,
to it. Just the blade. What? Madness! Empty destroys Lanix and Space Cowboy both on the backside. Empty just cleaning up the kills here. Bediza stunned and burned down. And maybe they want that blade back.
Probably, especially because they had the nano in pocket. I'm not sure what the call was there. Maybe Dason just lost line of sight.
I think that's probably what happened, yeah.
Unless they want a nano ghost turtle like this fight just to build up the primal. But,
yeah.
Who knows? The lack of communication there was somewhat prevalent.
They did manage to burn out 2 ults to their credit, so they have evened that up a little bit. But yeah, definitely the Nano Blade being such a huge win con. Oh, Bediza tried to go in for a cheeky roll, got stunned by RQT. RQT actually in serious danger there. It's a good Rivetic. Oh, that's huge play by the Ana. Dason, what a move! Bediza drops that minefield in. It's all over the place there on the backside. Bediza somehow getting 2 picks off that as well. Pog going down. Merlin empty. They're all cleaned up. Wow.
It's really just Vespa King, and he's not going to last very long. So now they're in stall mode. They should be able to touch, I think.
QT comes rolling out. He will get the touch, but he dies almost immediately. Dragon goes down as well. Merlin coming back on the ball, holding it in. Great pound there by... The ball will get paused back up in the air. Merlin just trying to rotate around, keep things going. Gets hit mid-air, will keep fighting. Vespa King now back in on the D.Va. Vespa King loses the D.Va. There's a coming in from RQT. RQT, boom! RQT juggle, RQT deflect kill. Oh, well done, Lanix. A great combination there between Ghost Turtle and Lanix to bring that down to the blade coming out here. There's no nano for it. Lanix doesn't care. Lanix just swinging away from the fences, trying to get anything. Gets a baby D.Va, and Empty goes down at the end as well. Now Pog trying to contest this out. RQT comes back on the Doofus. Doofus probably not able to stall this quite as much as they would like. Merlin up over the top. Merlin destroyed there, and there won't be a touch.
I was watching RQT and I was thinking, there's no way they let him do it again. Thankfully they didn't, but it was close because their target focus was kind of non-existent at the very end there. Everyone was kind of shooting a different thing. But they did cap it with a little bit of time, but I think overall, as long as they can have a good defense here, wear down the clock to at least a similar time, they have a decent contention to say, hey, we might actually take this map. You know?
I am just a little flabbergasted, if I'm honest, because that was kind of a completely different squad like than we'd seen. They were precise, like there was some clockwork precision to that, the way those anti-nades were going in on those initial pushes and the dives and the nano blade and the mines. It was really well done. All credit to him. Like actually really well played and very, very well executed dive attack on Dorado, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly why people thought that SBC could be a menace coming into the playoffs. But they also have those moments where they just kind of potato out, and they just kind of roll over and die when things get dicey. You know, they have a lack of target focus when the fights kind of devolve into those stall modes, and then people like RQT can just come in and start to carry, and that sort of comes back to bite Seattle in the butt. But for now, at the very least, they are on the high ground, both literally and figuratively.
Well, Ghost Turtle set up there on the original battle count. Orisa holding that high ground position. Vespa King coming out on the D.Va, so not really a dive, very much a low ground oriented composition. Should play well into whatever spam damage they can get out, but no kills really manifesting here, and they need to rotate. You cannot continue to hold the spot. They need to rotate. Words. There it is, and it's too late because they're up and in, and now you have one heck of a mess on your hands, and they're going to get punished for it. You can see Merlin trying to do the punishment, but Merlin actually gets caught and burned. Unfortunately, Formal Chicken will go down as well. RQT, the kills trading back and forth here. The two sides brawling it out. The Immortality Field did get deployed there. Empty, trying to push the car forward just a little bit. Dragon's actually going to make the same touch as well. The rest of the team falls in on him, and honestly... That's lucky for Seattle. That could have been a lot uglier.
Yeah, they're a little bit lucky that Merlin has never quite gotten past his slight feeding tendency. Otherwise, that probably would have ended completely differently. But now they do have a pretty advantageous positioning here on the low ground, which will give them a lot easier of a time to deal with the brawl. Especially with the window up from Dason, I'd expect that to come out in the next 30 seconds or so, or however long it takes for Edinburgh to decide to push in. Whereas Edinburgh don't really have too much to do themselves aside from...
Oh no! Way too late on the window when the Coalescence and the High Noon combined there to just sweep the defenders away. Oh, they windowed by the time that they were getting hit in the face by the Reinhardt hammer, and that's not... Oh, all right, that's fine. Reset.
Yeah, unfortunately,
having PTSD here, Chloe, as a support player of similar incidents. Oh no.
Unfortunately, Seattle kind of kited back to their right side, the attackers left, which is exactly where they didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't quite realize that until it was too late, and they already were getting smacked in the face with a rocket hammer. So.
Well, that's not a bad Gravittix early on. I'll see if they can get any value out of it. Dragon does actually get burned down very quickly, and you see Space Cowboy making these drops from the top deck. They'll throw in the Echo ultimate as well as the Diva Bomb comes up. The Diva Bomb goes down. Somehow, Echo will maintain that bomb, and there it goes. Ooh, nothing to be found from that, and the fight continues at peace here. The high ground holds still very much in their favor, though you begin to wonder if Formal Chicken should drop down and help the rest of the team. They certainly do. Sigma goes down as well, so now no more high ground control. Merlin coming in for the long bomb shatter, doesn't actually find anyone with it. Merlin in trouble now, getting pulled and pushed in many directions. Dragon's in there as well. Dragon in barrier to keep the team going through this. Merlin's going to use that as an opportunity to get more aggressive. Space Cowboy, the first victim in this particular rampage. They're keeping this going forward. RQT stunned out of the ult on the backside, and that's got a sting for the Reaper player who's had so much value from Death Blossoms all night long. The brawl continuing, and finally Merlin and his hyper-aggressive tendencies will burn them through. That being said, Space Cowboy and Beniza trying to make a stand of it. That Tracer has not stopped firing this entire time. All the pressure on Merlin, but they can't quite secure the kill as Beniza goes down. They continue to fight this out. I cannot believe this is still going.
I can feel Rydkos' pain as he looks at this spot to decide which one to make highlights reels from. Regardless, this is going to slightly go in favor of SBC because they have this one advantage now.
Yeah, sure enough, they'll come back in. The Battle Cattle trying to hold on here. Empty and Vespa King, though, are getting the big picks. They're getting big picks over the top. RQT contributing as well. Now it's just Space Cowboy stalling it out. And at the end of that absolute madness, they will complete the second point. And wow, that was a fight and a half. And I think it was Dragon investing that sound barrier. Just kept that push going. Did not want to give up.
Speaking of, he has another sound barrier. That's how crazy that fight was.
Yeah, he does.
That was a fight and a half all wrapped up into one.
Berlin and Vespa King tried to get up there. Vespa King literally got sent right back to the point. I'm not sure exactly what moved him, but something did. The dive coming in. Great anti-nade actually over the backside. Pog and Empty both taken down right away. Ghost Turtle bites off a little bit more than his monkey teeth can chew as RQT takes him out of the action, but that should be enough to slow down the push and reset the defense.
Yeah, both teams have kind of equalized by this point. Seattle has a little bit less ultimates currently online, but they have quite a few that are going to be coming up online really quickly by the time this next fight actually breaks out. So they're relatively even. What I'm going to be looking at in particular is Empty's attack visor. It's rather difficult to get value out of, but if you can find any value, it's going to be rather large here.
Oh, bomb up, bomb down, Ghost Turtle, the first victim, and Empty actually does get a pick with the attack visor. He'll take Formal Chicken out of the action there, and they will manage to secure high ground control, but only so briefly before they're back on point. A minefield coming out now from the Echo ball, and they'll drop it on minefield as well. Why not all the minefields? Beniza gets one. Beniza dies, but they're still fighting this out. Pog does have the Coalescence up there for half a second. It's not enough to stop a rampaging Winston, though. That Primal Rage doing a great job there. He'll juggle Vespa King and take him out. Now he begins to just push forward here. RQT still alive, still going for a cheeky pick, though, and RQT just accepts his fate there at the doorway, and they will be set again.
Whew, these fights have slowly devolved into complete and utter insanity where I don't think anyone's calling anything. So basically your average comp game.
At all levels.
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
However, you do have some semblance of coordination when it comes to using the ultimates. Getting here, beautiful Nathan.
Beautiful anti-nade, and it will actually take Empty out. I don't think he was in range of Dragon's Sound Barrier. It was a really well-timed Sound Barrier by the Lucio to help him get past that damage spike of the initial drop, but it's not enough. RQT stunned out again! RQT has to be absolutely foaming at the mouth. That's twice now he's been stunned out of his ultimate, not gotten any value out of either of them. An ugly little bit of brawl and cleanup here on the point. Dragon and Vespa King, the last one left alive. Vespa King needs to get back to the team because that is a ton of hull charge to give up.
I believe we're to the point now where Edinburgh cannot get a better time bank than SPC Space Cowboy getting a little bit over zealous there. They're already committing? Okay.
Well, Vespa King throws in the bomb and does glide most serenely in, but unfortunately doesn't get any kills. They will get a lot of space off of it, though, when they take full advantage of that space. Even as I say that, though, Ghost Turtle with the primal rage in the backside mine. God, Bediza with 3! Huge minefield. Oh, no. Pog tried to sweep it with their face. It did not work out, and now they'll just clean up the survivors there. RQT trying to make something happen, and it won't. 30 seconds left on the clock, and it's scrappy and it's ugly, but it's been one hell of a defense.
Oh no, Vespa King used his bomb, so he figured now's the time to swap over to the Zarya. Probably a little bit too late there for any value out of that. Unless he gets something crazy out of his bubbles, like maybe protecting Empty while he high noons, perhaps, and sure enough.
There's the high noon off the top. Dason will go to the Ana, take it out right away. Lannox does get the clone in, tries to make something work with it. RQT got stunned out again! But this time, RQT will clean up the kills. He'll get 3 in the midst of this fight. The Reaper taking some well-earned vengeance there as Pog the Moira helps sweep the point clear, and they're pushing forward in overtime now, and it's full stall comp if somebody can get there.
Already Seattle is in a better position, regardless of whether they full cap, but of course they want to stop it here. Bediza is ready to stall it out. Oh, but losing your support so early is not a good start.
Empty making the big plays this time on the McCree, just killing anyone who's coming close to touching the point. Lannox over the top trying to stall it out, won't stick. Oh, Space Cowboy whipped off the top of that point by the Rhinehammer.
Whew. At the end there, honestly, that was almost a support difference, and I think that a support difference is a big reason as to why the times are so different. Is Dason and Formal Chicken in particular were just playing out of their minds for a few fights there. Dason in particular was up on the high ground, just completely uncontested. No one was even paying attention to him, and he kept everyone alive. Formal Chicken did a great job stunning RQT out of, 2 or 3 Death Blossoms there, so that's exactly what the Brig has to do, because they're ideally going to be in the same area, the Reaper and the Brig. So you might as well save your bash for that when you know that RQT is going to have it just about every other fight. Oh, we might be seeing some comfort picks on the side of Edinburgh as things are getting dicey.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that is. RQT coming out on the Pharah. I mean, it worked quite well last time. Space Cowboy is on the McCree, so they do have a kind of a counter built. But, you know, even in this day and age, even a McCree struggles a little bit, I think, to deal with a Pharmacy by himself. I mean, I guess they have Dyson for support, Dason for support. Huh. We'll see what they can muster here. This should be interesting. I think RQT could get a ton of value here if he plays his cards right.
Oh, he might be swapping. Since Pog, yep, okay.
Yep. Ooh,
so maybe they
cowboy comp. Chicken, pull out the high ground. Chicken, no, run! Oh no, run, chicken, run! I'm pretty sure
he will get out alive.
He will get out alive. As Dragon actually is the first casualty, not the support I thought I'd see in the kill feed. FT throwing up the flashbang for the low ground. Again, the rotate slightly missed time, but they did get enough kills. They're just going to drop straight down into it with the immortality field to usher them in. And somewhere in the midst of all that, there is a McCree who's currently getting beaten up. Wow. What a series.
Lennox should be back in plenty of time, and actually he might build up to his duplicate by the time the fight gets really dicey, depending on how things go here. Rather brawly.
Yep, Merlin just going straight in there, wasting no time at all. But it's Space Cowboy on the high ground, largely uncontested there. Pog will start the chase. The Lucio just trying to finish him off. That does give a little bit of room for Ghost Turtle just back up here and get the wall set. Windows on both sides. Now they begin to trade real heavy shots. Dragon, the first to fall, but Giza goes down as well. That window will stay up half a second longer. Space Cowboy and Ghost Turtle getting in. Space Cowboy ulting from behind. That's QT alone trying to hold the point. RQT comes back in. Great Bob there. I don't know if that's enough to contest. It is. So Bob will hold down the fort for the team until he's burned, and then it is overtime. And it looks like Seattle Battle Cattle might be able to take this one home.
Maybe. It's certainly holdable, but it's certainly losable as well. So it's going to be dependent on if Seattle can get a singular good fight. Because if they can get one clean team fight, they're probably just going to push it all the way. And ideally, if things get scrappy, they'll have the composure to push it that far. Because they have almost twice the time that Edinburgh did. But who knows? At this point, I certainly can't predict anything anymore. I honestly would have thought that Seattle would have won Kings Row, yet here we are. So looks like they'll be running out in pretty much the same thing. On offense again. No reason not to, in all honesty.
Yeah, but it's important to remember here, right, that a lot of the success that they had running this comp was coming from the anti-nades that Dason was hitting. I don't think if they are aware of that on the side of Edinburgh and they take steps to specifically watch for that, they might really not get as much value on the dive. That's the thing to watch, in my opinion. They can devade it. We'll see what they come out with here, but he's on that ball again, kind of the usual stuff. I assume very much a similar attacking pattern. The card this time, though, the defender is not giving as much room here. They're not overextended on the other side of the bridge, playing much tighter, using that Torbjorn turret for cover and RQT there as well on the Reaper, just giving them a little bit of ground. Torbjorn turret chunking away damage on the top side. Empty pulled down. They try and dive the RQT invest here as well. Everybody's coming down off the high ground. This is not the fight necessarily the attackers wanted. It's not really one the defenders wanted either. Lanix is the first casualty. Empty will not survive. The pressure for the DPS in the backline too much. They will continue to push forward here. Merlin valiantly holding on that right on the front line, but it's the dive into the backside looking for something, and something will be Space Cowboy going down again. Not what they wanted to see. Merlin picked on the front, and now the way is open. Vespa King taken out. That's both tanks out of the fight. The support's still here, though. Still keeping the dream alive. RQT drops in on that Reaper. Great anti-nade. They need to kill Dragon. They do get Dragon. Space Cowboy there on the follow-up. And they'll actually pop the rally here as well. Just making it that much harder to hold. Merlin winning like a volleyball. And that will get Battle Cattle a map.
I honestly have no idea what this could be.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay.
Oh, looks like that first.
Cool. That was rough. That was a rough fight. That was actually probably the worst fight for Seattle that entire map, if I'm being honest, was that one. And wow, Bediza. Bediza had a huge amount of damage done. 18,000 damage on the ball. Way to go! What a player right there. Great stuff. Right, well, that's not bad. That's blooding the nose of the Monarchs right there. To be sure, Battle Cattle playing a spectacular Dorado, probably the best that we've seen them play all night. Does that indicate a reverse sweep? Maybe. You never know. But it's not exactly, I would say, written stone that either team walks away with this. Certainly, Edinburgh learned some lessons from that. And you do have to wonder, will the Battle Cattle be able to come out quite as efficiently on a map maybe they're not as prepared for? Of course, the Battle Cattle will choose defense, no matter what the map pick is. It'll be Hanamura, Anubis, or Volskaya. So a 2 CP map no matter what. We'll just wait for them to decide. Any insight here on what map we might be seeing?
Most teams just pick Hanamura, in all honesty, so I have no idea what they might be going.
Yeah, there you go. Comes through big. So Hanamura there. Monarchs will be attacking first. Puts a little bit of the pressure on. Also probably doesn't play as well into Battle Kettle's dive. That first point can be an absolute bear to get a dive in on. But we'll see what they can see what they can run. No substitutions, it looks like, yet, so they might be holding these lineups. Obviously, they do have a little bit of discussion to be had. Of course, if they want to run the double shield accuracy, I mean, Ghost Turtle will remain in, presumably.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Ghost Turtle seems to be more comfortable on that, on the Winston and Orisa, whereas Savage Kidney's more the other two main tanks. So, not sure. I would almost expect Seattle to run out on their offense with some sort of Symmetra composition, at least on the first point. I believe they've done it in the past. Lanix is a pretty nasty Symmetra from what I've seen in the past. As for what Monarchs do, I have no clue. They might also try and run out with a Symmetra composition. They might just try and do like a May Reaper thing and barrel on straight to point. Who knows? It's really going to depend.
People do love their Symmetra compositions. They do love that Sim teleport on the first point.
The microwave is fun.
I hate it. I hate that. Every time I see a team, I feel like it's one of those things where everybody does it, but like 9 out of 10 times, it's just a disaster. Like, you just get to the point and suddenly it's just organized chaos. Somebody falls off the back of the map. It's just everybody's all over the place. But it's the kind of thing where it's interesting to me that a lot of defenses kind of still don't position themselves in such a way as to counter it. You still see people playing up by the gate. You still kind of see people not necessarily prepared for the Sim teleporter, despite I think it being run a lot on Hanamura in particular. It is run a lot. It is
actually
very common.
Ironically, last night in Intermediate Division, Obligation had what I thought to be like the perfect answer to the Symmetra thing, is that they ran a Symmetra on defense and just set up a teleporter so that they could TP back, and it worked wonders. I believe they won Hanamura. If not, it was a very close loss.
I have actually seen people run that as well. And also it's worth pointing out that your own Sim turrets, right, on the point there can really make a hash of the teleporter because of the slow and the damage and just the general kind of like chaos, I guess, they cause when you come out of the teleporter. The first thing that happens is you're getting lasered by microwave beams. It does generally tend to add a little bit of chaos to something that is already inherently chaotic. If we had to just seen Dorado, I would say that coming into this, the Monarchs probably just, win this outright, clean it up, end the series. But I mean, I've got to imagine that Battle Cat will have some wind in their sails here after that last map. But do you think it's enough, Acme? I mean, is it enough to push them to maybe even a map 5?
I think it depends on if the Monarchs can keep their composure, because they definitely lost it quite a bit there on their defenses for Dorado. It didn't really matter that their offenses were pretty good when they just kind of crumbled apart to Jason's anti-nades. Looks like, quick update from the other game, looks like OTW 3-0'd Hyperflex. Not too surprising there. That was the expected result, in all honesty.
All right. I'm fascinated to see where this one goes, and there we go. Interesting defense choice on the side of Seattle Battle Cattle, running that Rhine Sigma. Actually, both sides opting for the Rhine Sigma here.
The Brawl double shield, I love it. It's probably the only variant of double shield people like to see, in all honesty.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. That is correct. It's a weird comp. It is kind of a weird comp. It feels weird, but it works. And you see Empty is coming out on that Sim, so I think your prediction holds true in terms of that teleporter.
Interesting to see them run out on the Symmetra Reaper as well. That's going to be a whole chunk of damage if and when they get onto point. Assuming that Seattle aren't expecting it, which they might be. It's hard to tell right now. Their positioning, maybe. They're definitely playing more middle ground.
Oh, they froze the teleporter!
Oh, nice.
Oh, what a clever little bit of play there. Unfortunately, it's not enough. The follow-up wasn't quick enough. They don't teleport directly to point, but they have flipped the fight. Now they'll start trickling back on. The battle cattle here just trying to find a target. They will find Merlin, who does go down first. Of course, the Beam and the Reaper in there doing tons of damage, but they can't quite seem to find a kill. The Edinburgh Monarchs really putting the boot in here, looking for something. They'll find Formal Chicken, Ghost Turtle, Space Cowboy with 2! And there's still a Symmetra, and there's still a Sigma fighting this out, but it looks like it's probably over for Vespa King. Merlin making a heroic last-minute charge, and he's gone.
That was great. I hope the stream caught that.
That is the single best reset I've seen in a long time.
That's perfect. But anyway, we have
Love it.
relatively even ult economy here, and it looks like Edinburgh are already established onto the point and want to go.
Oh, that was a solid Gravitic. Dyson actually gets taken out here. Bediza is down. Ghost Turtle, Formal Chicken, they're all collapsing. The kill feed lights up red, and they'll take the point. What a brutal assault. The teleporter kind of getting them halfway there, and then just a huge Gravitic, causing massive problems.
Unfortunately for Edinburgh, they're going to have a little bit of a difficult time steamrolling their way through the second point, as they don't have too many ultimates.
Oh! Dragon destroyed on the point by Ghost Turtle's Fire Strike. Bediza comes down as well. Ghost Turtle didn't have long to crow about that victory, though, because he did go down real quick. As Bediza comes in and just tries to contest the point, you see RQT in the midst of everything will actually manage to take out Lanix, but it won't last very long. Still 4 minutes, 45 seconds in the time bank after that hyper-aggressive second push.
I would expect MT to swap off of the Symmetra by this point, unless they want to do something cheeky. But yeah, there you go. It gets significantly less value as you move on to second point. Unless you wanted to use your ultimates, there's no real reason to keep it, especially with the wide openness of the points. The May and the Kree on the side of Seattle is just going to completely outvalue it.
Yeah, very much so.
And
well, here's the push right up the gut. Window does come out. Shatter comes out as well. Blossom comes in. He's elevated up into the air, but it doesn't matter. He'll still get the kills. RQT, the Reaper, living up to the name, and they'll drop onto point here, and Formal Chicken can do nothing but die. I don't think they'll be able to get anyone in here on the stall. Maybe the ball, but no, not fast enough. And again, a brutally fast second point strike to take them down there. The second pushes apparently are the hardest ones.
Well, I think that answers the question of if Edinburgh still has their composure or not, because they effectively lost 2 seconds that entire round. So that's good for them, but that's going to be rather risky for Seattle to try and match, as that is not going to be easy. However, we have seen crazier things this series, so I have no clue what to expect here. I would expect Lanix to be on that Symmetra, but otherwise, I got nothing. These teams just continue to surprise.
Yeah, I mean, that was a brutal push. It really was. A lot of it just obviously has to do with RQT being in the right place at the right time, and getting the Death Blossoms up. And it's a formula we've seen all night. You know, the Death Blossoms have been spectacular. Usually, I think he had a little bit of trouble on Dorado, and funny enough, that was the map that they lost. But otherwise, those Reaper ults have always delivered for RQT.
Empty on Old Faithful once again.
This is the most Torbjorn play I've seen in any organized Overwatch in a really, like, in a year, if I'm being honest. I'm down for it. I love Torbjorn. He's absolutely my favorite DPS. But like, you don't see him played this much, and I love that turret placement just slightly behind the rock.
I didn't know you could do that, but
yeah, that's a classic.
Why do I question Overwatch physics at all?
Oh janky. Lord, the teleport came in hard there, and the rotate was not there because they've already picked up a tick here, and they actually split the team. Space Cowboy just goes into Merlin, and they'll do the classic sort of Sun Tzu strategy: just pick one side of the divided enemy and crush it. And before you know it, Vespa King is alone on the point, trying not to die. And what an attack by the Battle Cattle!
Deja vu, except sides reversed. In all honesty, I think it took a fight longer for Monarchs, but otherwise, basically the same thing. It looks like they're going to be going back to spawn and swapping, which I do not blame them, since potentially going for... Actually, no, I think it's just Lanix that swapped. I still don't blame him. Symmetra on this upcoming point's not particularly great.
Yeah. Going more for that kind of I don't even know what that is. The Genji, I guess, going to try and get value on the outside edge. Genji throwing those stars. They're going to go straight up the gut, though. Immortality field out early on, but it's Lennox getting caught out by the turret. Now RQT pushes in. A window coming out sort of as an afterthought. Not seeing it, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I
think you wanted this swap to get the Nano Blade going anyways. Yeah, here we go. We're going to see a full-on dive. I think people just wanted to use their ultimates there. Give it one attempted push. This should probably be a dry fight. Maybe if they start getting picks, they could invest the beat, but otherwise they should really just go for a dry fight here, as Edinburgh have, coming up on 4 or 5.5 volts.
Well, Bediza coming in over the top. Vespa King caught alone. The perfect dive combo there to try and get him down. It does not work. And will force the rotate to point, though. Lanix, again, the earliest casualty. The Genji struggling a little bit here against the Torbjorn. It's a great anti-nade over the top of the Immortality field, canceling out most of the value. Ghost Turtle comes charging in and is slapped down. But they do bait out the rally there.
Yeah, it is good that they got the rally and actually the Baptista Matrix out of the way. But they're still a long way off from basically anything they want. And even when they get what they want, aside from, honestly, the mines, it's going to be difficult for them to get too much value. I mean, when you look at Edinburgh's composition, who is the best target for a Nano Blade? Because I don't know the answer there. Maybe the Torbjorn, maybe the Sigma, but that's not exactly a good target either. The Brig is just never going to die, period. The Baptiste is never going to die.
Well, there's the dive coming in up high. There's not a lot of follow-up. And a shatter coming in from Merlin, but it's empty this time with the Molten Core, who does the majority of the work. And once more, Lanix falls victim to the Torbjorn. The Torbjorn with 4! Wow! Empty there, clearing the decks. I mean, one of them was the turret, but you know what? He built it, so...
I don't know if the stream caught that, but Merlin effectively tried to solo shatter Dason, and Dason just sidestepped him. complete juke. It was beautiful.
That was pretty good. Yeah, he just walked around
slightly to the left. You gotta wake up pretty early in the morning to get Dason on that, apparently.
The drop coming in there, Formal Chicken and Dason both go down very early here. Now it's Ghost Turtle with the Primal Rage on point, just juggling people around, but really not enough. Space Cowboy goes down. Yeah, there's the kills filtering in, and a Reaper again. Getting big, meaty picks. The DPS coming in huge right now on the side of the Edinburgh Monarchs.
Honestly, I don't think I've talked about this enough. This is the weirdest turret placement I've ever seen, and I honestly wouldn't have expected that to be able to see the points, but it's been a menace to Lanix every single push.
It is very much not one of the stereotypical Torbjorn spots for the defense, but yeah, that Genji has not survived. Well, there's the touch here coming in, so actually not a bad touch. Nearly clears 2 point. Nano Blade has to come in. There's no Nano! Lennox does get a kill. RQT tries to cancel it out with a Death Blossom, though Nano the Monkey instead. Ghost Turtle now just trying to rack up some kills, but Space Cowboy will die. Ghost Turtle will not survive. And it's a bit of a misplay there. I don't know if Ghost Turtle got in the way or Lanix just didn't get the Nano. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but man, you kind of have to feel like a Nano Blade would have been pretty big right there.
Maybe he was pretty low to start off the blade, so who knows if he would survive. Regardless, I feel like SBC might have a little bit more success if they played something like a Kree or a Hanzo here, something with a little bit more poke to just take down that turret almost immediately first thing each time. But looks like Space Cowboy made it his mission this time.
Core comes out again, and once more Empty gets a core kill and gets 3 on the back of it. Empty the Torbjorn is holding this point down. Oh my lord.
This is honestly
the man
really
built
weird.
it up. He's not breaking it down, that's for sure.
SBC have been taking the weirdest rotation, and now you have Lanix swapping off of. Okay, I have quite a few swaps coming in, but like the rotation that SBC was doing was basically having their supports go up to their top right, onto the high ground, deal with the Torb turret. All the rest of the team was going up main, except the rest of the defense is up on the high ground, so they just kill the 2 supports like this. Yep, there goes Formal, there goes Dason, and then you have 4 people without any healers.
That's happened. You're right. That has happened multiple times, and I mean, it's just clean up on the point for Vespa King at this point in time. And they'll see Beniza trapped down there in the trench, and he'll get taken out of it as well. And yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough engages, that's for sure. And they're running out of time. 40 seconds left on the clock and their playoff dreams.
Got effectively one good fight. Lanix swaps over to that Echo. Potentially a good pick if they can take out the Torp turret quickly, but I mean, the entirety of Edinburgh is camping it non-stop. Oh, yep.
Well, that's that done. If you regroup real quick, you might get another push.
Oh, especially because Pog used the rally there as well. Although it looks like Seattle are just staggering into point. They want a touchdown.
Oh, they might have been a little too hasty to get that touch. I think they could have gotten a soft regroup there, but it doesn't really matter. Jason down, Bediza down. That point is
I don't know if they can touch.
Clearer than possible, and that will be the end there.
Whew. Just in time, because Expert starts in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
Honestly, this series has just been an enigma to me because I can never figure out what's going to be the play of the game. Actually, this one does make sense now that I think about it.
Yeah, this was well done, actually. This is really well played. I'll be honest with you, I mean, I Seattle Battle Cat obviously losing this one, Acro, but they put up a good fight. That was entertaining, if chaotic, and they put up a really good fight. They shouldn't be ashamed of that performance at all, in my mind. Yeah, it was good stuff. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they can be proud of where they landed at the end of the season, especially losing some crucial members towards the end of the regular season, which I think could have helped them keep their cohesiveness a bit longer. Space Cowboy's a relatively new starter for them, and he's been performing out of his mind basically every game since. So, just checking with Edinburgh for who they want as the interview. RQT. All right. Let me find him then. He should be. Oh god, why do they all have the same nickname in Discord? No. There he is. Okay. We're in casting booth 1? Yeah. I think he's server muted. Okay, there he is. Welcome and congratulations, RQT, on the hard-fought victory.
Thank you.
I gotta ask, were you expecting Seattle to put up that much of a fight and force this series as long as it happened?
Yeah, we were actually expecting to lose. Because everyone was saying SBC is going to win, so we were expecting a hard-fought series. And I to SBC's credit, they have improved a lot and they look a lot cleaner and sharper than they have. But we just pulled out the win, so yeah.
I just out of curiosity, what was the mood like after Dorado? Because I think Dorado was a rough map for you guys. How did you feel going into Hanamura?
We're just like reset. It's the scoreline 0-0 right now. The last 3 maps didn't happen, and that really did help our morale a lot.
All right. On King's Row in particular, Merlin was dying a lot first every single fight. So like what were the comms like that was leading to that?
Mainly just Dragon just yelling a bunch. Yeah, our comms were a little sloppy on King's Row, and Merlin did die a lot. But yeah, it was just mainly just a bunch of yelling, like get in the MO a lot. I heard that.
As a support player, I can sympathize.
Is there anybody on your team that you want to give a special shout out to, or you think did particularly well?
I want to shout out to Empty. He played a really good tour, especially on the last map. He played a really good, just like all around, just played everything really well. Didn't look weak at all.
Have you guys been practicing Torb, or was that just something where he's like, okay, guys, I know this sounds crazy?
We actually we did practice quite a bit of Torb. our last scrim, and we were very prepared to run it on, especially on Hanamura.
Interesting. Well, it worked. So
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, if you have any closing statements, RQT, the floor is yours.
We're better than SBC, and everyone who said that we weren't, they're just idiots.
All right. Proving
aggressive, but apparently true.
Okay, so to be fair, as someone who's been one of the more active novice analysts, I have no idea where that prediction came from. Like, I think I put in my predictions SBC losing like 3-0, so I'm surprised that I got a map. So, anyways, congrats again, RQT.
Yeah, thank you.
See you
Thanks
next
for having
week.
me.
We'll let you get back to your team and enjoy the rest of the night.
All right.
All right. Well, that was a game, a long game for only 4 maps. But that was rather exciting. Seattle, unfortunately, will be dipping out of the season, as well as Hyperflex much earlier this evening, dipped out. So it will be Wisdom and Geometric versus Edinburgh and One Trick Wonders. Names are escaping me. I'm already on. My mind is already on to Expert, but yeah. So I see those 4 teams compete in the semifinals next Saturday. We are going to have the Expert quarterfinals coming up shortly after this. Stream will probably stop for a few minutes to reset all the graphics and whatnot. I believe on this channel we're going to have Love Muffin versus E9? Yeah. Yep. Okay. That should be a good map. Good map. Good Indeed. Series. Words. Running out of them. Anyways, for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to be signing off. So I've been Acronator. Corbeck, if you want to plug anything.
Nope, I'm good. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Tune back in just in 20 minutes. It's gonna be another good one.